welcome back, or welcome. For today's video, I wanted to do a quick, let's hope it's a quick one, desk tour. Specifically my drawing desk, because throughout the years I've gotten questions about what supplies I use, and it would be nice to be able to answer those questions with a video link. So this video is to answer anyone's questions about what I use to draw comics. Make some tea, have some coffee, and buckle up because we're just gonna go through all this stuff. So we'll start with the actual desk. I made a whole video of how I assembled with a little review on it. I've been very happy with it. Of course, I do have to point out, very tough to pull out, but out of all the things that could have gone wrong in a purchase from Amazon, I'm not too mad that it's just that. If you're interested in knowing more about this desk, definitely check out that video. I'll link it in the description. On the right side, I have all of my drawing tools. It's not too complicated. To create this, I use a very fancy Pentel Twist Erase mechanical pencil. 0.7 lead. I love these mechanical pencils. They're not expensive. I like them because of the gel grip and the refillable eraser. And this refillable eraser is actually really good. Doesn't smear, it doesn't leave a lot of dust. I have a few boxes just of refills of this thing. Now if I want to draw something super fine, like these figures that are very small, see my finger? That's really small. If I need to get in and draw pretty small details, this one is a 0.5 millimeter. Now you don't need to use a fancy mechanical pencil. This one my husband gave me for either my birthday or Christmas a while ago. It's a little too heavy for me to use every day, all day, so I only use it occasionally when I have to draw really small details. Do you see how small that is? I don't necessarily recommend this mechanical pencil, but it's why it's here. Because I work in pencil, mainly, and that's right, I don't ink these pencil drawings. What you see is what I will scan and use for the final look of the comic. So it's very important that I have useful erasers. I have a few erasers, that's why. This one is also a Pentel eraser. It's the Pentel Click Eraser. I get refills from this. The only problem is this little clippy thing can break if you use it for too long. Be gentle with the clip part. Sometimes it smears, but overall it does what it's supposed to do. Now to get into really detailed erasing in small tight corners, the Tombow mono eraser, these are pretty popular. The refills are not cheap, but this little thing works really well. This one is a rectangular shaped eraser, and I use that for edges. So if I'm trying to erase here without getting any lines in between, very useful to just get an edge out. And so these I use for more detailed work. To erase larger areas, I use this Pentel polymer eraser. I love these things. I have several packs of them. They do what they're supposed to do. They're not messy. They don't leave a lot of dust. These are the best. Oh, this is Editing Jasmine. I completely forgot to explain what the hell this thing is. So when I erase, there's obviously gonna be eraser shavings, so I use this to brush them off and not rub the pencil work. You can use any kind of fan brush, either those watercolor ones or a makeup brush. I would get the makeup ones because they're the cheapest. You don't need a fancy watercolor fan brush to do the job. You just need something with fibers to brush away eraser shavings. Here I use magnetic bookmarks so that when I am tracing through a light box, which I'll show you shortly, I use the clips to clip drawings together under the light box. So I always have them here because I do use them pretty frequently. Tape is to tape the drawing up here. The reason I tape it up there is because if I'm working on the bottom of the page, this part, this goes into my arm, and so if it's too low, I can't really get to the drawing portion, so I raise it up. And then this is our newcomer. It's an electric eraser. I'm still trying to get used to it. The actual eraser is great, but it's very awkward to use because you have to press the button and put pressure on the paper. So it's kind of strange to use. And lastly up here are all of my blue pencils. I just have random blue pencils that I've bought at thrift stores. It'll be a pack of 20 pencils for 25 cents, so that's where I get these guys. The reason I have blue pencils is to draw the under sketches, so nothing fancy. As for the cabinets, I have a sketchbook to doodle out some angles very quickly while I'm drawing. If a panel's not working, I'll redraw it in here. This is a light box. I would like to get a slightly larger one because this one is smaller than a comic page. If I can get one that covers the entire comic page, very useful. So that's on my wish list. And then I have a lot of scrap paper. Let's see, things that weren't printed correctly. So I use those as my arm guard. So when I'm drawing something, I'm not smearing what's underneath. I always have this ruler, because this is the ruler I pretty much use all day. I got this ruler when I was, I think, like 8 or 7 years old. So yeah, I've had this ruler for decades. I like it because it has a curve, so it's easy to hold and maneuver, and it's transparent, so I can see underneath. And that's pretty much it. That's what I use all day, every day. And it is really cute, so I'm not mad about it. For the other cabinet is where I store all of my templates and rulers. I don't use these too often. I don't mind them all piled up. I do use the circles a lot. I have the French curve that I do use, quite useful sometimes, getting little curves. And then I have extra rulers that people have given me or I have found. I don't really use too much, but it's good to experiment. This would be useful if it weren't so damn heavy. Again, my wrists are too delicate. I can't really be working with heavy things, so this doesn't really get a lot of use. I probably should give it to someone else. This one is plastic, so it's really light. I do use that one. The other neat thing about this desk is this shifting shelf. So I can pull it out depending on how much room I need when I have to spread out with sketches or I have my water bottle. And the second best part is obviously the glass, so I can use my reference stuff while I'm drawing. So here are my thumbnails, my script, and the undersketch for that specific page. So I do reference them while I'm working on each panel. Right now I have some of the outfits that are being featured in this scene. I had to doodle them out because I kept forgetting like Rodrigo's outfit. So this is taped at the desk for now while I'm working on this scene. I still have 4 pages left to draw to finish this scene. For my lamp, I have this flexible lamp with a wide bulb. This is super important because if you have it wide, then it can get a larger area instead of one focused section. And because this is a comic page, you really do need like a rectangular area lit. And the flexible arm is super useful because when I use the light box, I can't be using that. So I just do this. I mean, I could turn it off, but it's so much more satisfying to be like, no, shoo, I don't need you right now. Kind of rude, but sorry, buddy. Above, I have another arm with a light, and I have this for recording on my phone. Any time lapses and stuff if I want to record TikToks. I don't make a lot of short content, but when I do, very useful. I also will put this actual camera up here to record overhead drawing time lapses. So I do use it for long video content. In fact, I think I use it more for that than actual short content. The last part of this desk is the storage component in the bottom. Here's pretty much where I store all of my paper. For Girl Nights comic pages, I use the Deleter comic paper. They also sell... It's very important that you check the size because they sell another version that also says A. Depending on which size you want to work on, make sure you get the right size. This one is the B4 size, and this one's the A4. B4, A4, and yet they still mark a giant A on both of them. So visually it's confusing. You just gotta look at the measurements. I have worked on both sizes. I prefer this size, but because I'm putting so many panels in each comic page on Girl Night, it has to be a bigger size. I'm obsessed with this comic paper. It is really, really smooth to work on. You can erase a million times and it's not going to damage the paper. So it's very, very sturdy, like cardstock paper. And the other cool part is it has these blue guidelines. The innermost box is the active area, and then everything outside here would be the gutter. I don't want to have to be thinking about how to set up each page. That's why I chose Deleter, because I like these guidelines. We also have some toner paper that I bought in Japan recently. I haven't used it, I just haven't had the time, but I definitely want to try them out eventually. I did get the smaller Deleter paper just because I wanted to. I haven't used it, but it's really cute. And then these are the papers that I use to draw actual illustrations. Beneath the desk, I do have a footstool. This is all eraser shavings, but this I put my feet on so that my feet aren't dangling off of the stool, and that's bad for your circulation. It makes sitting for many hours comfortable. And then I have this stool that I also got. Even though this desk came with the stool, it was so cheap that the screws were already digging through the cushion, so I had to get a different stool. And this is what I went for. It's great. On the side, I have my headphones, and then I have all of my charging cables dangling off of this side. I know it looks messy, but it's just all the cables. Behind that mess is where I house all of the comic pages from Girl Night that I've already drawn. So this bad boy contains, I believe, over 60 pages now. So that's chapter 1's comic cover. And that's the first page of Girl Night. But yeah, this is all the pages so far that I've drawn. It's good to keep them preserved like this. They will get worn out since they're made in pencil. I have a random illustration board that I don't really use. I don't know why I still have this. I have this giant clipboard for when I used to try to do paintings. Again, another thing I don't really need, but I might need to use it later, so I just have it here. And that's the desk. To the right of it, I have my little reference mannequin. I do use him often. And then these blue pencils, here's the sharpener for them and all the shavings, because I'm too lazy to go to the trash can every time I need to sharpen them. I have plushies that people have given me, so they hang out here. And then I have all of my inks for my fountain pens. These are big bottles, so they stay over here. I have my stamp that I use to number my comic pages. That's it. It's a corner that's too far away to put things that I grab very often, so it's mostly storage area. Behind the desk is my vision board for Girl Night. I included making this in one of my vlogs. After a few years, all the clippings are kind of moving around. I should probably update it. This is a Christmas tree ornament that my husband gave me because it was a night. I think he looks pretty cool. This is a vintage sign that we found at a thrift store. I really like it because of the pink. This is a watercolor concept sketch that I made of the female mercenaries. We will see these ladies in book 2 of Girl Night. I have them here because I like how I watercolored it. I have a Nausicaa poster back there. Another perk of having a glass desk is you can still put stuff down there and look at it. This is a teacup print that I made a while ago. I have more of these. If you're interested in purchasing a print, let me know. And up here is a beautiful official art print of one of Yoshitaka Amano's illustrations. This one was under Vogue Italia. My husband bought it for me a few years ago. It's really pretty, and I hope to be able to display it better once I have a studio or something, because right now I can't really appreciate it. Too high up and blocked by these little tiki fishes. They're from a tiki artist local here. And last but not least, the shelves to the left of the desk. These are my manga reference books. I use them very often while I'm drawing. Sometimes I want to rework a panel, and when I need ideas of how to reapproach that panel, I'll open these up and try to find a different way of doing it, including this one, Prince Valiant. I got this pink organizer from the lobby of our apartment building. Somebody was getting rid of it. I get a lot of stuff from the lobby. Here is my work area of chapter 4. So here are the pages I've already drawn. Here are the pages I still need to draw. So yeah, 46 pages in total. I barely started drawing chapter 4, so you can definitely tell there's still so much to do. Above that, I have my actual templates for perspective. You can see it better here. I have the grid, 2-point perspective. I don't use them super often, but they're still quite useful when the angle is just right. And then I have my swatches for my watercolors. I wish I had more time to do more watercoloring. It's on my mind, you guys. I really do want to do more watercoloring. I mean, I obviously have done it. It's just I don't have time, so that's why I end up doing all my illustrations digitally. I have this color wheel, which I never use. I have my iPad accessories, 2 keyboards here, and the case for it. Here I have chapter 5, so the chapter after this one, I've already started thumbnailing it, so this is my to-go folder with the script and a sketchbook to continue to thumbnail it. This is a notebook for girl night, just for a task list, random, it's just tasks. They're not important enough to keep in the project notebook, so this is basically like scrap paper. This is my illustration thumbnail notebook. As the name implies, it's where I house thumbnails of illustrations that I would like to do for girl night. And some of these I've already drawn. This one was the cover for chapter 3. But I like it because it has the guidelines, the grid. It's very useful for thumbnails. Here I have comic pages that I have finished, but they can't go in this pile yet until I scan them. So if they're hanging out here, it's telling me that I need to scan these before we can fully put them away over here in the done pile. So I have a few pages to scan. And then here are under sketches that I need to draw. So this is page 8 of chapter 4. I've started the under sketch. It's not quite done. And here I keep all of the under sketches that I've already done. That is page 7. So that means that I have 7 under sketches here already done and used. Now where do those under sketches go for a chapter that's already been completed? So this is the first 3 chapters of Girl Night. All of their under sketches and the scripts. So I house all of the final comic pages there, and then everything else that came with creating that chapter will be dumped in this folder. So we've got scripts and under sketches. This was actually trying to figure out how many pages per book I needed to do. That was very stressful to try to determine. In the last slot of this organizer, I have random illustrations of Girl Night that I haven't finished. So like this drawing of Simon. It's obviously incomplete, and it's because I chose a very strange angle. Like I wanted to do like an overhead angle, and I don't know if I achieved it. So in seeing how it's kind of awkward, I stopped caring about finishing it. Maybe I will, I don't know. So that's in the maybe pile of these. Most of these drawings I feel very meh about, so I'll probably never actually finish them. But you can tell I'm still holding on to them, because who knows. I have this cute drawing of Henry and Alice, but I decided to do it on a giant piece of paper, so I still have all this empty space to add more drawings, so that's why it's also there. In this binder is what we have more Girl Night drawings, or actually all of the finished drawings that are not comic pages are here. So I have this drawing of Henry and Edward. I need to color that someday. I have this drawing of Alice that I also need to color. It's very detailed, so I know that it's gonna take a while to color. But this is where I keep those drawings. I have this terrible, just terrible watercolor. Concept watercolor sketches of Henry and Guichard. Another illustration of Henry and Alice. The OG drawing of Girl Night. This drawing is what started the entire story. And it's right here. I have little artworks for decoration. And then it's mostly like concept art of early ideation of the story. Like when I had no idea what the hell was going on, I just doodled people talking and sketches of Alice and stuff to try to figure it out. If you're familiar with one of my vlogs, this is where I keep that drawing. And then in the very back is where I have like old concept art. It's so bad it's not even worth like keeping in the front. I mean, I'm not throwing them away. It's just, I'm not super happy about them. But they exist, okay? So that's where all the Girl Night artwork belongs in. Now I could have everything in one folder down there, but I didn't want to mix art with the comic pages. I wanted a folder strictly of comic pages, or at least the artwork that goes chronologically in the story. That way I can see a good pile, and I can separate just artwork with the comic. I think that's very useful. And last but not least, you guys, is the miscellaneous shelf up here. I won't go into too much detail because it has nothing to do with comics, but I have my sketchbooks here, including watercolor sketchbook. This one I use for my anatomy studies, so I guess it would be relevant to comics. It's good to constantly be doing anatomy studies to keep up with your drawing skills and to improve, obviously. I have reference images for illustrations here. I have Japanese watercolors, Nausicaa for reference. What is this? Oh, this is a sci-fi concept art book that is too big to fit in my bookshelf, so I just have it here. And then I have a lot of watercolor paper and cardboard for painting. So that's all extra paper. This is a calendar that I used to use a lot, but now that I have a planner, I never use that. And I don't know what to do with it because I feel like if I had a bigger space, I would be able to use this for something else. So I'm keeping it to use eventually somehow. I hope that makes sense. If you're wondering what's in this cart, I like it because it actually becomes another side table for me to use. This is all of my planner stuff, like stickers, washi tape, stamps. I have more stamps here. And if you think that's a lot of stamps, I buy these at thrift stores for like 50 cents. So, pretty cheap. These are my colored pencils for making art. These are cheap colored pencils from thrift stores that I use for my planners. So yes, I do make a distinction because these are nicer colored pencils. So I'm not going to be using those just to do like journaling and stuff. So I use, and these are easier to grab. And down here are my watercolors and my fountain pen ink. Throughout the years, I've collected quite an assortment of Ferris wheel press inks. So I'm definitely on a no-buy time right now until I can at least use one up. I do use them, it's just they take forever to use up a whole bottle. So as you can see, this one is not even halfway through. I can't buy any more until I use at least one bottle. This is my swatch of them. They're all lovely colors. And here is where I keep them. This is a scrap notebook, literally to test out fountain pens when I refill inks and stuff, and to jot down whatever. Like, it's good to have a scrap book. And here, since I mentioned fountain pens, Recently, some of my whiteout dripped out. I'm really mad about it. I'm gonna have to figure out how to remove that stain. But here's where I store all of my ink stuff. So a little palette, pen nibs for like calligraphy are in here. So when you see me do medieval calligraphy for the covers of my comic, like over here, all those titles, they're initially drawn by hand. So these are the nibs that I use for that. I have a ton of art markers that I don't use too often, mostly just for sketching. And all this stuff I didn't buy. I don't remember how I came across them. Maybe the apartment lobby I got them at. And here are all the holders for those nibs. I have a glass pen too. This is just reminding me that I would like to make time for sketching, but I just don't. But it would be fun to use all these toys. On the other side of that, I have my pencils and lead for drawing. I have all of my paintbrushes and random markers that I've had throughout the years. I haven't thrown them away because they still work. And that's it for the desk. Okay, I wasn't planning to, but it makes sense to also go over my digital desk setup because this is the final stage of creating a comic page. So it's not just the drawing that is part of the process. It's also the digital. So I'm just gonna briefly go over what I use on the digital side. The tablet itself is the Huion Canvas 13-inch tablet. It's basically new. I recorded an unboxing in another vlog, which I will link either here or in the description. I'm really happy with it so far. This is the pen for it. It can be a screen tablet or it can just be a flat drawing tablet, so it's versatile. When I'm working directly on a comic page where I need to focus on drawing, I do have the screen on to really be able to get into the details and precision with the pen. I'm working on Clip Studio Paint. I completely recommend it over Photoshop if you're working on a sequential project. This is the actual project. I have the EX version. So the EX version is like the more premium version, and this allows you to have a full project where you can have multiple comic pages in one file. And so this is actually, so far, chapter 4. And like I said earlier, I just started drawing chapter 4, so there's not a lot of pages that I've drawn and also scanned. I've only scanned 3 pages, so this is all that there is for chapter 4. I haven't even created an interior illustration for it. So this is actually the previous chapter's interior illustration. I just colored it green because I think that's gonna be the theme color for this chapter. The first scene in the chapter also deals with a lot of armor. So I've been using this concept design of everyone in their armor as reference for Alice. Because I keep forgetting what I ended up deciding on her armor, because she's not supposed to wear a full armor. She only wears a few things. I just keep forgetting which of those things are. And you can see here in this first scene that she's wearing a few of them because she's testing it out. Anyways, I use the MX Master Logitech mouse. I've had this for years now. It is the most ergonomic mouse I've used. It has a little wheel on the side too, so I do use it for video editing. You unlock a whole dimension in software interfaces when you have a sideways wheels. If you're thinking of getting a new mouse, I would splurge on a MX Master. These are not cheap. I think they're like $100, but they're durable. I think this thing is already 8 years old. One thing too that I use, this is not entirely related to comic making, but I do recommend the Forest app for productivity. This thing allows you to grow a forest. I haven't grown anything today, but here's yesterday's forest. So I put a timer, kind of like a Pomodoro timer, while I draw or while I work on editing comic pages so that you can grow a little forest. Here's another forest from another day. Pretty. You can choose a bunch of different plants. I've had this app for years, so I have unlocked almost all their plants. But I know that this doesn't seem at all related to this, but hear me out. It's helped me stay focused. I would say it is part of this whole ecosystem of creating comics for me at least. So I'm just going over what has worked for me. This is my Stanley with water and some flavors. Editing Jasmine here, I forgot to point out that I also use the Clip Studio Paint TabMate, which is this little handheld thing. It's really good to access shortcuts in the software, and I think it's more ergonomic for your left hand instead of always having to reach out to a keyboard to access shortcuts. You have this little handheld thing that you can have in your lap at all times. There's lots of buttons, even a scrolly wheel, plenty of options for you to customize your own shortcuts. I highly recommend it. This is the first generation TabMate. They've already come out with the TabMate 2, which is compatible with both your computer and your iPad at the same time. So the one I have is only compatible for the computer. It won't work on an iPad. So if you'd like to get one, make sure you get the second generation compatible with both. This is pure shea butter. My hands get very dry and I hate that feeling of dryness, so I'll put that on, and if the screen gets too oily, then I'll wear one of these gloves while drawing on the tablet. Oh. That was quite a speedy tour. I hope that answers anyone's questions about what I use supplies-wise. If you have additional questions, leave a comment down below. I'll answer them. I've put links to a lot of the stuff. I hope you found that helpful. Now that I'm done recording, I'm gonna get back into finishing that page. Thank you for watching this tour, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!